SCUM is a brutal and unforgiving survival game. Developed by Gamepires and published by Jagex, it distinguishes itself from others in the genre with its deep mechanics, intricate systems, and intense realism. SCUM isn't just about surviving the elements, but also managing your character's physique to the finest details. Players will start with creating a character to their liking. Afterwards, you're introduced to the skill-based progression that adds an extra layer of depth, with 4 main attributes such as strength, dexterity, constitution, and intelligence, all with many different skills within each category, such as brawling, archery, running, thievery, medical, and so on, with them ranking from no skill to advanced, influencing how your character develops and survives as you progress. This allows players to choose the kind of prisoner they want to be, from a lockpick expert to someone with the knowledge of cooking and survival, making your character unique to you. At its core, players will find themselves looting 90% of the time while stuck here, and it will be your only way to acquire everything you need for long-term survival. We're talking food, water, weapons, crafting materials, and so on. Players must contend with hostile wildlife like bears, wolves, boars, and even goats. Yes, I said goats. Mechs and dropships are also a thing in this game, which can stand out looking like they don't even belong here. Also, the ever-lingering presence of zombies, which in this universe are called puppets due to the fact that they are being remotely controlled through a chip in their head. However, you aren't the only one alive on the island, as there is other players and NPCs that roam the island. Mix that with the ever-present threat of starvation, dehydration, and injury, and your chances of surviving start to look slim. But SCUM goes beyond traditional survival mechanics by introducing a highly complex metabolism system, where players need to keep track of their calorie intake, nutrient, and even their character's bodily functions. Too much sugar can lead to sugar crash and increased fatigue, or eating too little can result in malnutrition and weakened stamina. The game even tracks the muscle mass of your character, making exercise and diet critical in maintaining survival. It's a level of detail rarely seen in other survival titles. Crafting will also play a big part in your survival. The game allows players to create everything from improvised clothing like improvised armor, stab-proof vests, and backpacks, to gear such as a compass, fishing rod, or even a torch. And if you find yourself in need of a weapon, you may also craft spears, axes, and even makeshift guns, giving yourself a higher chance for survival. Building a base will also play a crucial role in your adventures, and the building not being over complex with its amount of shape building, a simple base is very, simple. And because at the end of the day, you will need a place to store your loot, rest, and call home. While crafting can be rewarding, you'll probably find something useful by looting around faster. I think the materials to craft stuff is a little too much. Players will find it's not worth their time. Combat in SCUM is gritty and visceral. Unlike some other survival games which focuses more on action, SCUM emphasizes realism in its fighting mechanics. Whether you're facing off against puppets, hostile players, and so on, the shooting and melee mechanics are detailed, with each weapon requiring some skill and attention to detail to use effectively. Effectively is in quotes here, because you can pick up a gun, load it, and shoot it no worries. However, gunplay, for example, involves learning the intricacies of weapon maintenance, or you might just get caught in a sticky situation when your gun jams or it's too rusty to work properly. I'll add in that reloading can be quite annoying at times when you realize you have to put in the bullets one at a time in the magazine. But for those who enjoy the realism, this won't be an issue. While on the subject, combat can feel punishing, especially for new players. The learning curve is steep, and if you're not careful, you can find yourself quickly overwhelmed by the mechanics and the hostile environment. While this may be daunting for newcomers, it will definitely appeal to players who enjoy a more hardcore simulation-style survival experience. One of SCUM's strongest features is its multiplayer aspect. The game thrives on player interaction, whether through alliances mainly through PvE servers or hostile encounters within PvP servers. Engaging with other players can result in thrilling moments, whether you're in a firefight or scavenging together to survive. The dynamic, unpredictable nature of human interaction is one of SCUM's standout features. On the other hand, if you're not ready for the chaotic nature of human conflict in a survival setting, it can feel frustrating, especially when you lose hours of progression in a single encounter. And for those PvE servers, you lose a sense of immersion while playing. Seeing builds everywhere, people chatting all the time, people selling items to trade for cash, it can break the survival immersion for some if not careful. Graphically, SCUM is stunning. Running on the Unreal Engine 4, the island is around 144 kilometers square, which is quite large, so you will be walking a lot. And I mean a lot. But fear not, for there is a vast variety of vehicles in the world, from small cars to a 4x4 truck and motorcycles. And if you're feeling like living on the edge, you have planes. Just remember to have spare gas. The world is meticulously designed with varied environments ranging from lush forests to abandoned military bases, coastal towns, and remote wilderness areas. Along with a dynamic weather system, creates an immersive atmosphere and some pretty good vistas. Take a look. The environment is not just backdrop either, it actively contributes to the survival experience. Players must adapt to changing weather conditions, find shelter during storms, or risk getting clothes wet, which will increase the overall weight, or even deal with the consequences of extreme temperatures like freezing or heat stroke. This makes every decision from where you choose to make camp and how you manage your clothes and gear essential for survival. The game's sound design is nothing to write home about honestly, but with the ambient noise adding to the eerie, tense atmosphere from distant growls of zombies, or even sounds of gunshots in the distance, gives a sense of alive to the world. It creates an immersive world where every step you take feels like a potential threat. I would like to mention real quick that the amount of overall customization for your single player world or server is very extensive, so players can tweak the game to their liking. Maybe you don't like the idea of mechs, maybe you prefer to make a more relaxed experience without enemies. The game has plenty of parameters to mess with, giving total control to the player. Despite its many strengths, SCUM does have many drawbacks. The learning curve is steep and for new players can be very overwhelming at first. There are instances where the game can feel a bit too slow or grindy, especially if you decide to go for a more solo experience, then building a base will be quite the challenge early on. Or where hours of effort can be undone by a single mistake or ambush. Furthermore, the lack of a clear tutorial or a more accessible onboarding experience can make it difficult for beginners to jump in. And the occasional technical issues with reports of bugs, performance hiccups, server stability issues, which can take away from the overall experience. That being said, the developers have been fairly active in updating the game and always fixing issues. There's plenty to talk about, but I wanted to make a more quick overview of SCUM, and since the game recently just came out in 1.0, there is still plenty more features going to be added soon. I personally would recommend this game to those who are looking for a survivor game with rich, intricate systems. SCUM might just be a perfect fit for you and some friends to mess around with and have some fun. So in conclusion, SCUM is not a game for everyone. It is a hardcore, highly detailed survival simulator that will test your patience, skill, and ability to adapt. It's a game that demands dedication, but offers a rewarding and unique survival experience for those willing to dive in and stick around. And if you needed another reason to buy SCUM, well, the game has a boob slider. Alright, peace.